Emergency departments operate at the absolute peak of clinical acuity. The medical decisions made in a trauma bay are split-second, precise, and life-saving. But behind the clinical curtain, the financial infrastructure supporting those decisions is quietly collapsing. The emergency department is the highest volume billing environment in healthcare. Every single day, billing teams process hundreds of patient encounters. Each carries rigid CPT code selections, complex modifier rules, and constantly shifting payer policies. According to the American College of Emergency Physicians, historical rejection rates for ED claims hovered around 10%. Today, that rate skyrockets to 31%. Insurers are now rejecting nearly a third of all emergency claims, nearly triple the rate from just a few years ago. This emergency medicine spike outpaces a growing national trend. Across all specialties, the national initial claim denial rate reached 11.81% in 2024, according to Experian Health. The friction compounds quickly. 68% of healthcare organizations report that simply submitting a clean claim is significantly harder today than 12 months ago. Emergency departments fight a two-front war. Physicians are fighting the clinical battles in the trauma bays, while the back office fights a losing administrative war against aggressive payer denial algorithms. Every denial carries an immediate price tag in the form of administrative rework. It functions as an active cost generator within the practice. This animated diagram represents the unit economics of a denial. Industry data shows that reworking a single denied claim costs between $25 and $100 in dedicated staff time. Every one of those bills represents capital permanently subtracted from the practice's operational margin. Multiply dozens of denied claims per week by that rework cost, and the result is thousands of dollars in avoidable administrative overhead bleeding out every single month. This is money spent solely to recover revenue the physicians already legitimately earned by providing care. This continuous rework tax breaks the business model of an independent practice. It makes it too expensive to collect your own money. The volume of denials is only half the equation. The other half is the human infrastructure tasked with managing it. According to the MGMA Data Dive report, business operations support staff had a turnover rate of 33.3% in 2022. 1 in 3 billing staff members leaves every single year. The baseline cost of keeping that position filled is heavy. Hiring an in-house medical biller runs between $55,000 and $75,000 per full-time employee, once base salary, benefits load, and training time are factored in. When a trained biller quits, institutional knowledge leaves with them. They take their understanding of specific payer mixes, denial histories, and local modifier patterns out the door. The replacement hire faces a steep learning curve. It requires months of lost productivity, known as ramp time, before a new biller reaches full operational capacity. Trying to solve a complex structural problem by throwing highly transient internal staff at it accelerates a practice's financial bleed. Emergency department billing is a highly specialized, complex forensic process. It starts with the medical decision-making framework. For every encounter, a coder must independently assess the complexity of problems addressed, the data reviewed, and the risk of complications, assigning a final level based on the highest 2 of those 3 elements. This diagram shows the anatomy of Critical Care Code 99291. Codes like this and 99292 carry some of the highest single-claim reimbursement values in emergency medicine, often exceeding $5,000 per encounter. Because of that high value, they are attached to multiple tripwires, representing automatic payer audit triggers. If a procedure is performed, modifier 25 is required. A slight documentation misalignment causes the entire structure to fail, and the claim gets denied or bundled. There is an inherent gap between how physicians document for clinical care and the precise optimization payers demand. Without credentialed coders translating those clinical realities into rigid payer frameworks, massive revenue loss is mathematically guaranteed. Compounding this internal staffing fragility is intense external pressure from the payers themselves through intensifying audits. MD audit data reveals that payer audit at-risk amounts rose 30% year over year in 2025. The average at-risk amount per claim increased by 18%. Commercial payers are responsible for 45% of that exposure, while Medicare Advantage denial rates rose 4.8% from 2023 to 2024 alone. This line graph plots time against collection probability. MGMA benchmarks days in accounts receivable under 40 days. Best-in-class target under 35. Past that, collection probability drops sharply. When rejected claims pile up and age past 90 days, revenue becomes permanently uncollectible. The combination of untrained staff and aggressive payer audits inevitably pushes practices into an accounts receivable death spiral from which they cannot recover internally. To survive this environment, emergency medicine groups are stopping their attempts to outwork the problem. Instead, they are changing their structural model entirely. They are executing an outsourcing arbitrage, moving away from high fixed cost in-house models to specialty-trained external teams like Staffingly. This model relies on dedicated billing specialists who carry AAPC and AHIMA credentials. These are dedicated experts working directly inside the practice's EMR every day. This dynamic flowchart details how artificial intelligence is layered into the workflow. Raw claims move toward the payer, but an AI-augmented audit filter intercepts and corrects errors before they ever trigger a denial. The data is secured on day one under a strict compliance architecture that includes SOC 2 Type 2, ISO 27001, and HIPAA-aligned workflows. This model replaces reactive, human error-prone workflows with proactive, algorithmically defended systems that stabilize cash flow. Integration happens with high velocity. Full operational EMR access, staff onboarding, and protocol training are completed in just 14 days. This split-screen comparison illustrates the stark unit economics of the two models. On the left is the heavy fixed cost of an in-house full-time employee running up to $75,000. On the right is Staffingly's flexible model, priced at $399 per week per seat. As volume scales, that figure drops to $349 per seat. All overhead, benefits load, and turnover costs are zeroed out. The outcome of this system is an error rate maintained below 1% across a base of over 800 practices. The macro impact of this arbitrage is measurable. It has generated more than $14 million in verified administrative savings for clients. In the modern denial economy, clinical excellence and billing infrastructure are two entirely different disciplines. Protecting revenue requires removing structural friction and outsourcing the revenue cycle to specialized experts.